Hey, it's Lisa Robbin Young here. I'm in my temporary office space, my dining room, and here is the 90-day calendar, and I will give you guys a close-up of this in a couple of seconds. But I want to kind of walk through what I did. Basically, I didn't do anything sexy. I took some Christmas wrapping paper, turned it to the inside. See, it's like, I don't know if I can take, it's like poinsettias and stuff on the back. So, anyways, just turned it over, put a grid on it, and I've been promising you guys that I would show you this, and you're not going to get to see like all the gory details, but you're going to kind of see how I walked through it. And I actually walked through it backwards in time, from the launch to today. And this is a concept that I actually learned from Mark Joyner, what he calls the backward planner, which I believe is a military concept. Actually, you start with your end result. What is the end result that you want? In this case, I want to launch something the week of January 1st. What's the very next thing before that has to happen in order for the launch to go live? Well, I have to email everybody and tell them, hey, the launch is live, come check it out. So that's the next thing that goes on the list. And you just keep plugging in things as you go on the chart. Now, the question comes up, what do you do when you don't know what that next to the next step is? Well, when I fill in the calendar, I do it two ways. First, I fill in backwards, and then second, I fill in forwards. So all the things that I know that are happening, I fill all of those things in. Like, I know I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be at a conference. I'm going to be traveling for the holidays. I want to take the whole last week of the year and just spend it with my family. I have a couple of projects planned, but nothing too intense. I don't want to be stressing out the last week, so I've got this cushion of time here that I've created. And I'm following a process that I've used for all of my launches in the last year and a half. And we'll talk more about launches specifically in a video that I'm going to be shooting after this. But let me grab the camera and come on over here and show you what we've got on the launch. Okay, so here we are at the launch calendar, and you can see the week of January 1st, I'm going to launch, and you can also see here kind of what my process is for doing a launch. Simple, stands for seed, incubation, messaging, pre-launch, launch, and then execution. And I'm going to talk about that in a future video because there's some specific stuff around that I want to hit on. And then here are some ideas for possible things that I'm going to launch. Because I believe that when you launch something, you don't just slap up a website and say, hey, come check out my stuff, come look at me, come look at me. That's fine and good, but if that's all you're ever doing, that gets old fast and people stop listening. So I want to give you guys something really cool to say thanks for gutting it out with me for 90 days, and here's this thing I've been working on, and I'm still not sure what that's going to be. Part of the reason I'm not sure what that's going to be is because we're still refining the target market for what we're up to. And if that's the case, until I know who my target market is, I can't really be sure what is going to appeal to them in terms of a product offering. So you're going to hear me throwing ideas out over the next few weeks to get your feedback, to bounce ideas off you, to see what's going to stick and what needs to wait. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, if you're like me, you get lots of ideas. Some of them are great, but they may not be marketable. Some of them are okay, and they're incredibly marketable. And so that's part of what the conversation is going to be about. And then you can look here at the calendar. There's December 31st. I'm going to be occupied with travel. The day before, I'm going to make sure that the final email is tested and scheduled and ready to go. And it's very possible I may have that done way up here somewhere, but I know that that's my drop dead date. So when I'm filling in my launch calendar with things that have to happen, I have drop dead dates for most of the stuff that's on the calendar. I got to install the images and do the initial testing of the site about 2 weeks before we're actually set to launch. Why so far back? Because it gives me time. If something goes wrong, if there's a problem, I've still got time to deal with it. And then I'm just going to spend, a few days working on that. I've got some other things that are going to come on later. You'll see over here, I'm planning to do podcasts and over here, tweet chats. And you're going to see this stuff starting to manifest over the next few weeks. Because obviously I can't do everything at one time. But I mean, when you get up here into October and November, some of this stuff we've already done, it looks really messy, really messy in here because some stuff's got to move. I got to do this one first. And, so I do a lot of thinking as I'm drawing this out. So this just kind of gives you a glimpse of what the calendar looks like, what some of the elements are that are going into this launch, and you're going to get to see the rest of it as it all unfolds. Okay, so the nature of the beast is, when you're building something like this, it can take lots of different iterations. And when I first started putting this thing together, I just started jotting it down in a notebook. In fact, I have an entire notebook just for the launch, and all my notes and all of the ideas and all of the stuff. I needed a consolidated place to document everything. And I'm tactile, so I'm writing this stuff down. But for some people, they want something a little more electronic, and there are lots of tools. One of my favorites is the Simpleology tool that I was talking about earlier, and I've been using it for the last 2.5, 3 years, and it really helps me accomplish a lot more in my day because I'm clear on what has to happen. It also, like I said, keeps stuff locked away so that I don't lose it. I know I can put it in there and it's gone. So that's my first step, is just kind of get it all out of my head, get all the steps out, and then I start ordering them. I've done that with note cards. I do that with sticky notes. I've done it with mind maps. All of those work, but once I've got everything in an order, I need something very in my face, very visual, very tactile, because if the power goes out or I'm somewhere where I don't have my computer or my notebook comes up missing because my 5-year-old decided he wanted to color pictures in it or whatever, I've got something that I can look at a glance, or I can call my husband and go, hey, what's the calendar saying since you're working on today? If I'm not home, he can check it out, he can tell me. And it lets everybody know in my household very clearly, this is what I'm working on. These are my major goals and objectives for the next 90 days, so that people have an understanding of what the expectations are. Honey, why didn't you do the laundry? Well, my head's been down for 3 weeks working on this particular aspect, or, something's got me bugged, or I need your help. And sometimes they can provide input to you. You just never know. I mean, you may have seen the video I did on Love and Pancakes. You just don't know where an inspiration or an idea is going to come from. And if they can see what you're up to, they can help. The one caution that I would provide to you is if you are in an environment that you know is incredibly unsupportive or anti what you're up to, you have to be a little more cautious about what you're sharing. Maybe you don't want to share the whole calendar. Maybe you want to share some specific things so that they have some clarity around what to expect from you. Because I find when I'm working with entrepreneurs that one of the biggest things that stops them from making forward progress is an unsupportive environment, and the unsupportive environment generally stems from a lack of understanding. If there's communication around what's going on and there's mutual respect between the parties, usually that stuff can be navigated. And it starts with being clear and communicating properly about what you're doing in your life and in your business. The other thing that I would say is when you make a commitment to your family, make sure you're honoring that. You'll know on this calendar, I very specifically said I'm traveling, I've got family time, I'm doing this, I'm not going to be here for that. And I've scheduled my workload around those things. And as entrepreneurs, that's why we did this whole starting a business thing in the first place. It's because we wanted more for our families, or we wanted to be there for our kids, or whatever the more thing is that you said you wanted. And then the first thing we do is we tell our family, you have to wait because I'm building a business. You have to get clear on what your priorities are. And if you've made a commitment to your family, that needs to be a priority for you. If you made a commitment to your friends or your clients, those are things you want to honor, so honor your family as well. Honor yourself. Give yourself some downtime because you need to recharge. Jonathan Field's book, Uncertainty, he talks about the need to take a break and move away from those things that we've got our heads and our noses buried into for so long. We need a fresh perspective. So if you're not spending the time away, how are you ever going to come back with a new perspective, with a clear head, with a better view of what you're working on? So that's the launch calendar, and how the specifics work out. that remains to be seen because, you know, we have to be agile and we have to adapt and we have to adjust. And once I get clear on what the target market is for this new offering, that's going to set the wheels in motion in a much faster pace. Right now we're doing a lot of head work, a lot of cerebral, mental, mindset stuff, clearing the path kind of stuff. Once we get clear on the target market, and that'll be soon, that's going to be a process that, you know, sets the wheels in motion. We'll be moving at a lot faster clip. Stuff will start happening a lot more quickly. Content will be developed, etc. But I want you guys, again, to see how all this works and see how you can apply it to your own business. And if you're seeing things that I'm missing, please, please, please share them with me in the comments. I love to hear from you guys. I love to interact with you guys, and I want to know, what questions do you have? We're thinking about doing a live stream in November and would love to chat with you guys about this whole process, what you're liking, what questions you have. So if you've got any of those things percolating now's the time to start letting yourself be heard on the blog. So look forward to more videos like this one soon.